Hello, Elevation Health friends and family. This is Dr. Dave Yachter, the chiropractor, with our fast approaching Heart Smart Nutrition workshop. We want to discuss some of the important things about heart health. February is Heart Health Awareness Month, so I'm bringing you some very purposeful information today. So, in this episode, you'll discover the three major myths that most people believe when it comes to managing their heart health. We're going to talk about the most critical factors when it comes to avoiding these mistakes. And the reason why this is important is because heart disease is the leading disease killer for men, women, and people of most racial and ethnic groups in the United States. Did you know every 37 seconds a life is lost to cardiovascular disease? and so for most of you, this is something that really needs to be on your radar. Most people who are looking to get control over their cholesterol and their blood pressure issues truly are trying to get well. And all too often, I've seen the treatments become far worse than the disease itself, especially when it comes to cholesterol medications and blood pressure medications as well. And as I always say, there's a time and a place for taking medications when it's necessary. But I don't know that cholesterol prescription drugs actually fit that mold. And let me tell you why. The first myth is cholesterol is bad. We've been brainwashed to believe that cholesterol is bad. And the fact is that the brain holds 2% of the body's mass, but contains 25% of the body's total cholesterol. So your brain has a large majority of its matter made up of cholesterol. You need cholesterol to actually have healthy brain function. Cholesterol forms the membranes of all the cells in your body, and it keeps the membranes functional to allow the nutrients to get in and the waste products to get out. And without those healthy fats and without that cholesterol in the membranes, things start to break down and we start to have health problems. Cholesterol in the brain actually serves as a powerful antioxidant. It protects the brain against damaging effects from free radicals. And if you don't know much about that, let me just say that it has a lot to do with aging and cancer. All right. So we need that protective mechanism. Otherwise, our risk goes up substantially for cancer. And it also accelerates the aging process when we remove natural and normal cholesterol from our body. I hope you're getting this right now. Neurons also, these things that fire in your brain that actually help with brain function and memory and learning, concentration, concept formation. We need neurons for all of that. And they rely on the delivery of cholesterol from the bloodstream by way of LDL, which you and I have been taught to believe that LDL is the bad cholesterol, but yet we know that it's a shuttle that takes the life-giving cholesterol to the brain so it can perform critically important functions. So that's the function of LDL, low density lipoprotein, which in fact really isn't cholesterol. It's a protein, which is a shuttle mechanism that helps feed the brain the important cholesterol that it needs for all these vital functions in your body. So here's an important question. What happens to all these healthy benefits that you're getting naturally if you lower your cholesterol, if you take that out of the body? I'll just say that. I'll leave that there, and we'll come back to that in a minute. The second myth is that statins actually prevent heart disease. And there were numerous studies on this, and I'm going to go over a lot of this at the workshop. One of them is a 2018 study that showed substantial evidence that total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol levels are not an indication of heart disease risk, and that statin treatment is of doubtful benefit as a form of primary prevention for this reason. And recent studies have shown, and actuaries who keep track of these numbers with the long-term studies have demonstrated a benefit of only 4 days of life extension for those taking statins. And these are long-term studies. So statins do not prevent cardiovascular death, and there is little or no benefit. And this is published in medical journals. Another medical journal, the Journal of the American Medical Association, participated in this with 1,000 people, a 4-year Yale University study. They showed that people with low total cholesterol have just as many heart attacks as those with high cholesterol. So think about that for a minute. And again, these are things that we're going to go into greater detail at the workshop. The last myth I will say is that saturated fat actually causes heart disease or increases your risk of heart disease. And the fact is that this was a study going back a few years in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. 340,000 people in the study. They followed them from 5 years to 23 years. And at the conclusion of the study, it showed that the intake of saturated fat was not associated with an increased risk of coronary heart disease, stroke, or cardiovascular disease. They said that the actual risk for heart disease was 19% lower in the group consuming the highest amount of saturated fat. So again, we have been told to stay away from eggs because they're high in cholesterol, stay away from red meats, stay away from bacon and things like that because of their saturated fat and their cholesterol content. And I'm going to show you studies which show the completely opposite of that and some of the benefits that you're missing by possibly being influenced by what we call junk science. So what's the solution? Well, a couple of things. Number one, ask yourself and your doctor, start asking intelligent questions. Number one, if my cholesterol serves an important life-giving purpose in my body, then what are the consequences of lowering my cholesterol levels? Here's another good question. If numerous studies continue to show that statins and cholesterol drugs don't prevent heart disease or cardiovascular death, then are the potential long-term side effects of the drugs actually worth the risk? Here's another question. If saturated fat is not associated with an increased risk of heart disease, then what of my favorite foods can I go back to enjoying with peace of mind? So I will give you the answers to all of this, as well as how to reduce your risk of heart disease by more than 90%, get better control of your blood pressure and cholesterol, reverse type 2 diabetes, learn more powerful heart healthy foods and supplements. I'll go into all the details on this. This is one of the most important workshops that you can attend. If you have family members, friends, loved ones, think about them as well, because you're going to learn all about this and a whole lot more at our upcoming Heart Smart Nutrition workshops coming up Monday, March 13th at 5:45. So if you're in the office now, please make sure you get to the registration clipboard at the front desk. Put your name down, the names of your guests. Seating is going to be limited. Or call the office at 954-472-6002. This is going to be an amazing, life-changing event. So please, if you're under my care right now, especially if you have a heart condition, you're on any medications for heart disease, diabetes, overweight, you really don't want to miss this. This is a vitally important workshop. So looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you for joining me today. God bless.